Ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 week away. We're 2 weeks, 1 week away from our NFL draft preview, probably our favorite show of the year, in which Seth and I will make our selections, and we'll be wrong because we are. Neither one of us are draft nicks. Neither one of us look at a huge amount of tape, but we do take into account what the team needs. We'll predict some trades. There was one trade already with the Vikings trading up for 11 and 23. So there has been that movement. Will there be more movement? Who knows? Stefan Diggs moves over to Houston. So the Bills I believe they're at 28, probably need a wide receiver since their top wide receiver right now is Curtis Samuel. Seth will be on in a couple of minutes, but that is 1 week away, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right. So every week, I generally wear either a superhero shirt or, first of all, I'm Sean Palmer. Seth Kamens will be on his way. And it is a beautiful day here in Atlanta, Georgia. It is, look who has joined from the basement, Mr. Kamens. I have to tell you, it's 84 degrees, my friend, here.
It's about 75 here. It's gorgeous.
84, beautiful. You can see right outside. I needed to open the door because it was just too hot. And I know, I get it. So 1 week from today, we go into, 1 week from tomorrow, our NFL draft preview, which is one of our favorite shows of the year. But today we have a couple of things on the agenda. Number one, we are going to make our NBA playoff selections, the playing games. I spoke to Seth this morning, and of course, I was off base. The Western Conference tonight, the Eastern Conference tomorrow, which makes perfect sense. The same amount of rest. That makes a lot of sense. And then we start for real. The playoffs begin on April 20th, 4/20. I will tell you, Seth, I admit the L. Morgan!
Who's this?
Hold on, we have a special guest.
Who's this? Is that Uncle Sean?
Ladies and gentlemen, Morgan Kamens. This is like the Kelseys, but not. All we need.
No, very much not.
Oh, you know what? Morgan, are you sticking your tongue out at me?
He's wearing a Giants hat in honor of the draft next week.
So we have our draft next week, right? Wednesday, we're going to do that.
And Morgan, let's put on creature cases, honey.
I actually have the esteemed pleasure of meeting Jim Boeheim on Thursday.
Did you?
I do. He is doing his reconciliation tour around all of Syracuse fans. He is doing speeches. He's stumping for something. I don't know what that is, but he will be in Atlanta next week. I don't know. Like I said, he'll be in Atlanta next week. So I will bring my towel that I have that honors his wins, and I might get a basketball signed. I'm pretty happy and pretty much looking forward. So, so that'll be next week. And
Ken Marks, this is Daddy's show.
So before we go on to our NBA playoff preview, I think it's important to recognize some of the greats that in the last, 3 days have left us, right? Number one, John Sterling. Look, I'm not a huge –
John Sterling died?
No. He left the booth. He is not in the booth.
Yeah.
There are people that died. We're going to get to those in a second. But the first one is John Sterling retires, 85 years old. Seth, he was on the air for 35 years. I mean, it's – look, I wasn't a big fan of his.
Nor was I.
I consider him a huge homer, and I'm not a big fan of the homers in general, but I guess every team has one, right? Like the Islanders have Butch Goring. I'd like to say that the Knicks probably have Clyde Frazier, right? Everybody's got their homer. It's generally not the play-by-play guy, though. It's generally the color person.
That's the problem.
Right.
I expected it to be Yes,
So
you can watch
you
Gabby.
expect it to be Susan Waldman. You don't expect it to
Yes.
be.
Which she's an ultra homer too, but I typically expect the analyst to be an ex-player.
Yeah.
So not an
You know what,
opposite.
though? He did 3 years on the Islanders, and last night Brendan Burke on the final goal by Kurt McLean, who happens to be the son of ex New Jersey Devil John
I'm
McLean,
McLean.
who is on the bench for the Islanders. Gave out his John Sterling impersonation of a goal for to honor John Sterling, which was pretty cute and pretty cool to hear. Okay, so those that passed. Number one, Whitey Herzog passed away today or yesterday. Did you know Whitey Herzog was supposed to take over for Gil Hodges? I had
No idea.
And when Gil Hodges passed away unexpectedly, the Mets were in a crisis, and they gave it to Yogi Berra. But it was supposed to be Whitey Herzog's.
Is this around 71, 72?
Yeah. His first managerial job was supposed to be for the Mets. Now, the irony is his best managerial jobs were kicking the Mets' ass. So, I mean,
he was very good at it.
Between 82 and 85, man. I still remember Terry Pendleton's home run that basically sunk the Mets in 1985, and which is ironic because yesterday Monday the Mets honored Dwight Gooden, and we can get to that in a second, and retiring his number. But man, Whitey Herzog, between the Royals in the 70s and then the Cardinals in the 80s, winning in 1982, he changed. Much as Tony La Russa changed the game 10 years later, Whitey Herzog changed the game in the 80s because there was no team that bunted, slapped the ball. I mean, their number 3 hitter was Tommy Herr. And number 4 was Jack Clark. I mean, they had an MVP. I mean, Willie McGee won a batting title for the Cardinals playing for the A's, which was always one of the funnier stats.
I believe he hit 353 that year.
He did.
How about that?
Well done. Now, can you name the second baseman on that team? Oh, sorry. Can you name the super sub on that team?
Jose Oquendo.
Yes. Well done. Can you name the right fielder on the team?
Is it Van Slyke?
No.
It was McGee. Was the center fielder?
This is 87.
Okay, Van Slyke.
Yeah, this is after 87. So he played.
Van Slyke had already been traded to the Pirates.
It was Tom Bernansky.
On the Cardinals?
He played for the Twins first and then went to the Cardinals.
I don't remember him going to the Cardinals.
Yeah, he played for the Twins first. And look, that team was just between Jack Clark, right? They had Pedro Guerrero there for a while.
Guerrero was in the earlier 80s.
Their starting rotation of John Tudor,
Joaquin Andujar,
and Joaquin Andujar, right? And then their closing of Todd Worrell. They played, and obviously Ozzie Smith at shortstop. That team was, and Vince Coleman later on in the late 80s. That team was speed. And by the way, we got Jack Clark. And then other than that, we got more speed. And then more speed, and then maybe Jack Clark comes around again. And
I think Clark hit 35 home runs one year.
That
was about the extent. They hit like 80 as a team.
Well, Guerrero
give me 2 minutes. Let me help with Morgan. I'll be back in a minute.
Guerrero was the first guy that was that power hitter, right? So they had one power hitter. I mean, their teams in the 1980s. I mean, if you want to go to 1982 Cardinals, I'm going to see how many I can get. So I know their catcher was Darryl Porter. First baseman, I don't remember their first baseman. That's what. Oh, it was Keith Hernandez. Tommy Herr, Ozzie Smith, Ken Oberkfell, Lonnie Smith, Willie McGee, and then George Hendrick and Seth's back. So their 82 team was obviously Keith Hernandez on that team, which I totally spaced out on, and they beat the Brewers in that World Series.
Right, that was, and I believe the MVP of the series, I think was Ted Simmons.
No, Ted Simmons wasn't on that team. Oh no, you mean Ted Simmons was on Milwaukee? Did the? I can't imagine
No,
that
I'm
the
wrong.
team was from the
Wrong.
losing team.
Was Simmons originally on the Cardinals and then ended up in
Simmons
Milwaukee?
was originally on the Cardinals. Then he went to the he went to the Brewers and then the Padres, I believe. Remember the best. So the one thing about Whitey Herzog was if he didn't like you, you were gone, and he made that abundantly clear several times, including Keith Hernandez. But the one trade that he made, which made he was like, I want this guy gone. He's slacking like crazy. Was Terry Pendleton for Ozzie Smith, which at the time was viewed as a loss by the Cardinals. And well, Gary Templeton was a nice player, and Ozzie Smith was the greatest fielder of all time, potentially at any position. So unfortunately, we say goodbye to Whitey. We also today.
To be fair, he was 92. He had a good
was
run.
no doubt. And another guy that was in that realm of age, Carl Erskine passed away today at 97. The second to last of the Dodgers that won the World Series, the last being Sandy Koufax, who was 88. I had to look that up today. And
was Koufax on the real Dodgers teams?
So no, he was not on the 55 team. He was on the 63.
Team. He was on the team in the 60s.
Right. He was on the 63 team. That is correct. Correct. So the 63 team. The 55 team was the Brooklyn team. The 63 team was the LA team.
Yeah.
And obviously Koufax is Koufax, right? So Carl Erskine passes away today.
Hold on, I have a daughter. I'll be 30 seconds.
Daughter problems, things Uncle Sean does not have to worry about whatsoever. But you know what? It's nice to worry about a daughter every once in a while. Okay, and then the last, and obviously this person did not pass away, but he did retire. And that would be Blake Griffin. And Blake Griffin did not play this year. Excuse me. Blake Griffin having one of the interesting careers. We're talking Blake Griffin.
I saw he retired today.
He retired. One of the interesting careers in how quickly the drop was for Blake Griffin.
As quick as any I can remember.
Now, granted, certainly due to injuries, no question, and his game was predicated on athleticism. So he had knee reconstruction, but I mean, look, he signs a 5-year, $171 million contract with the Clippers, and then like 4 months later, he's traded to the Pistons. So, I mean, you can say Blake Griffin is one of those guys, devil done him bad. Right? I mean.
Well, he had a game that was 90% prior to the injury based on athleticism.
Yeah.
Once he had the injury, he didn't have the athleticism.
Yeah. And the last time he played was with the Celtics of last year and averaged 4.1 points. Blake Griffin, a Hall of Famer?
No.
Okay.
No. Very good player.
Okay.
But not great enough for a longer period of time. Never led a team to the conference finals. Good player. Very, very, very good player in his prime. But no. Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
So Blake Griffin averages 19, 8, and 4 over the course of his career. I'm looking for all NBA teams. Do you think he made one?
First team? No. Maybe a second or two. Maybe
so he won a Rookie of the Year. He made all NBA second team 3 times and third team twice.
Okay, that's what I just said. I didn't think he ever made the first team.
Because
it was him.
So he was one of the top 15. He was one of the top 15 players in the league 5 consecutive years.
That's why I can believe that.
And I'm not sorry, it wasn't 5 consecutive years. It was 4 and then had a little break. And then had one later. I guess you look at it, he didn't do enough in college. I mean, he had 2 years in college. He averages 18 and 12, which is a pretty good substantial average at Oklahoma. I don't know. Like, again, we're putting people in. Michael Cooper makes the Hall of Fame. Does Blake Griffin – Michael Cooper certainly did not make an All-NBA team. He made several defensive teams. But I guess we're – just because one doesn't make it, the other one should. I get that. But I don't know. I don't know where you come down on Hall of Fame anymore. I think that it's such a vague concept right now. It's up to your own choice. Was he a dominant player? He was one of the top 15 players in the league for 5 years. That's a pretty dominant player.
And look, he had a great run with Chris Paul, but they can never break the glass ceiling.
Okay, but is the glass ceiling the predication of whether you make the Hall of Fame? There are lots of players right now.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying he needed to win a championship.
Okay.
But he never went to a conference final.
Okay, so neither is Chris Paul.
Yes, Chris Paul did. Thought he went once.
No. What, with Houston?
No, with Phoenix.
I don't think he was on that team. I think that was Steve Nash's team.
No, the team 3 years ago that lost to Milwaukee. And I think he was on a Houston team.
Well, if he went to the team that
lost the
lost
conference final. Wait a
so
minute.
you mean the 2021 team?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'm not saying no. I'm not there. I don't know. So hold on a second. So that 2021 team lost in the NBA Finals. You are correct. Okay, so one.
And then I think he went to the conference finals with Houston, where they lost to Golden State.
That may be. I guess okay. So Paul George hasn't done it, right? I mean, I can name a bunch of players that have
Paul
not
George
made it.
Went to a conference final with Indiana.
Oh, a conference final. That's correct. Yep. Okay.
I mean, it's like the Caitlin Clark win a championship. You get the GOAT status. I mean,
right.
I think it's hard to base it strictly on winning a championship, but there has to be some kind of team victory premise that works. That's part of it.
Yep. No, I get that. I can't say I agree with it. I don't. I don't think that in a team sport, your individuality, I get the fact. Look, you're not going to. I get basketball is a little bit more influential than the others. I get that. I keep coming back to Ted Williams and saying, does Ted Williams not a Hall of Famer because he didn't play?
Ted Williams went to a World Series. Went to two, I think.
All right. Either I am completely bonkers today, which is quite frankly true, baseball.
Didn't he go in like 47 or 48? They went. I thought he went 1 year. Maybe
played in 46, and he was largely injured.
Okay.
So he played in one against Enos Slaughter.
Yeah, against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I thought he may have gone one in 44.
That's the only one. He played in one. He played in one. Ernie Banks doesn't play in a World Series, right?
Ernie Banks is not threatening GOAT status. Ernie Banks.
Okay, but I'm not. Right. No, I'm saying, do you have to be in a conference final to be a Hall of Famer?
I think look, when Ernie Banks retired, he was considered unanimously the second greatest shortstop of all time. I don't think there's any.
Okay, so your point is you have to be that much better than everybody else if that's going to cover you that. That's okay.
I don't think Andre Dawson wins the 1987 MVP. His team was in last place.
Yep.
So he either had to have such an extraordinary year above and beyond everyone else, or you can't be the star. Or
it was just an amazing story, which it was at the time, right? that he takes a blank check and $500,000 and goes from the Expos to the Cubs and hits 49 home runs. I mean, the story wins too. Look, everybody's got their own understanding of what the Hall of Fame is. That's why the Hall of Fame is a subjective concept. No question. I totally agree with that. It's not like golf and it's not like tennis, right? Where you win a certain amount of tournaments and you're in the Hall of Fame. And I don't think you can make it that way for any of these team sports. That's the purpose, right? Because it's a team sport. Okay. We got 39 minutes. I'd like to go through the play-in tournament and where we are today. First of all, before we go through that, congratulations to my New York Islanders who made the playoffs. I have at least one more week of hockey ahead of me. Okay. So here is the play-in bracket. Here is the bracket as we see it today from NBA.com. Okay. So we're going to go through each of these. Obviously, we have the play-in games tonight. The Kings versus the Warriors in Sacramento. Your thoughts?
It's going to be fun. That's a fun game.
See, and I think the Warriors are going to blow the bejeebas out of them tonight. The Kings have done nothing but lose ground in the last month. Nothing.
They're still very talented.
There's no Malik Monk. There's no Kevin Huerter. They lose depth.
Yes, it's one game. You don't need an enormous amount of depth for one game.
Okay. I think this is a blowout. I think the Warriors are licking their chops over this. And look, I could be wrong, and you're right. One game, anything can happen. But the Warriors are playing better, and the Kings are playing worse. And understand
it's also in Sacramento.
I was just going to say it's in Sacramento. So I'll pick the Warriors to win this game.
I'll take the Kings.
Okay. On the flip side, or in the same side, I guess, the Lakers are winning this game tonight because I think the Pelicans just have it. Have an image of the Lakers that they all of a sudden just run from. I don't understand it, but their matchup, the guard matchup with this team, is horrendous for the Pelicans. Horrendous. They have nobody that guards AD. They have nobody that guards LeBron.
Yeah, I agree.
So playing that out, so the Lakers are going to advance, and then we have the Pelicans versus the Warriors in New Orleans, or the Pelicans versus the Kings. Again, I can't take the Pelicans in any of these games. I don't see Zion being what Zion – he has never played on a big stage and come through. And until he does, I'm going to say no, not going to happen. And ESPN is just going to be licking their lips because if everything comes to pass the way that I have, you have two first round series, one with the Lakers and one with the Warriors, which nobody a month ago thought could even happen.
I agree.
So you have the Warriors over the you have the Kings over the Pelicans?
I have the Pelicans over the Kings.
Okay, so you have the Pelicans going. Okay, so you have the Pelicans going into. Hold on. So the Kings are going here, right? The Kings are going here. The Pelicans are going here. So you have the Pelicans against the Thunder, and the Lakers against the Nuggets. In what may be. First of all, it's the Lakers' worst nightmare to me. It's the Thunder's best nightmare. If you're the Thunder of any of these teams, I have to say I would pick the Lakers over the Thunder. I'd pick maybe the Warriors over the Thunder, and I have the Warriors playing the Thunder. But I wouldn't pick the Pelicans over the Thunder. I'd pick the Thunder over the Pelicans. So for ease, I'm going to pick the Thunder over whoever's playing in that 8 seed, and I'm going to stay chalk and go Nuggets over the Lakers.
I agree.
I'm picking the Mavericks over the Clippers.
I am too. They've been so good. They've been so good the last 2 months of the year, and the Clippers are just feel like such an arbitrary team. It's a weird thing to say, but I think it's Dallas.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's Dallas. First of all, you have no idea what Kawhi's bringing to the table. None whatsoever on a game-to-game basis. Until you can show me somebody that stops Luka, I'm picking Luka throughout the rest. You're going to be surprised with where I got Dallas going from the 5 seed. I got them going
probably the same place I do.
I got them going to all the way to the finals. I got them beating the Nuggets.
Okay, I don't have them going that far.
I got them going all the way. Maybe because I want to be contrarian. I'm not exactly sure yet. Okay. And now we have the series that causes me the most angst because I really, really, really want the Timberwolves to win this series. And I really, really, really can't pick them. I even with Karl Anthony Towns, I got problems here, Seth. I got problems with matchups. I got problems with mid-range. I got problems all over the place because, all right, if you're playing defense against Booker, Beal, and Durant, and let's presume they're healthy because that's the only way I can do this at this point. Right now they are healthy. And they get another week, right? Nobody wins more of being out of the play-in than the Suns. Nobody. A month ago,
yes.
This was very much in the playing games, and now they get a week off. So let's play how this goes. Who is Karl Anthony Towns guarding?
I got no idea. He has no matchup here.
Gobert's going to be on Nurkic, right? Yes. You're not going to put Karl Anthony Towns on Devin Booker. And you're not going to put Karl Anthony Towns on Bradley Beal.
Nope.
Do you want Karl Anthony Towns chasing Grayson Allen?
Good God, how does that even work?
But that may be where it is, right? Because Grayson Allen's a spot shooter at this point. By the way, hat tip and congratulations for a new 5-year contract for Grayson Allen. I think it was a 4-year. I'm sorry, 4-year and $70 million.
$70 million.
Hat tip to that. Duke grad. Well done. So, all right. So, so who's left, Seth? There's one guy that's left. Oh, please.
Is it Royce?
Put Karl Anthony Towns on Kevin Durant.
No, that doesn't work.
So, where is this? And I get it on the other side. It's a hard matchup for Phoenix to guard too, right? But remember where Karl Anthony Towns' game is now with Gobert in the middle is basically a spot shooter. So can I put Grayson Allen on Karl Anthony Towns? I can. If all he's doing is running outside.
If he's running and shooting threes, why not?
So and now you have a pick and roll with the Suns and Kevin Durant. Let's play the pick and whoever is Karl Anthony Towns is guarding. You play a pick and roll off of them. Okay, just so you don't defend the pick and roll, and Booker screens outside and Booker shoots a mid range. Fabulous. I mean, if you're the Suns, he's got a wide open mid-range. Fabulous. I don't see how the Timberwolves win this series. even with Minnesota. And it
Well, they
pains
win
me.
the series because of their athleticism. I agree that it is an awkward defensive matchup.
It's the worst
really
series they could have found.
Probably. But Phoenix has been a constant disappointment this year. They have no depth. I mean, have you ever seen a team go in with more hype? And we've seen teams fail that have had more hype. But this team hasn't failed. They've just done nothing. They're just there. I don't see a motivated Phoenix team at this point. So I agree with you. I think Phoenix probably wins the series, but I don't think it's as definitive as you do. Because I don't like their depth. They're old, they're injured, they're tired.
Sure. Look, I hope I'm wrong. You know, I have been rooting for Minnesota for this to work in Minnesota for now 2 years. I have. I want Minnesota to win this series. I want Minnesota to play the Nuggets. And truthfully, I would pick probably Minnesota over the Nuggets. I would. But I have a hard time seeing them get there. So if I'm going to the next round and I see the Nuggets versus the Suns, I give the Suns no chance against Jokic, and the Nuggets are making the Western Conference Finals. So are you picking the Suns or the Timberwolves in that 3-6 match?
Sorry, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm picking the Suns.
All right, so now we have the Suns against the Nuggets. And
I'll take the Nuggets. All
right, so now you have the Mavericks versus you have the Thunder versus the Kings. So I would presume you're
I'll take the Thunder.
And now you have the Thunder versus the Mavs. And I'm taking the Mavericks.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so now you have Mavericks and Nuggets. And I'll take the
Nuggets.
And I'll take the Mavs. The Mavericks, by the way, did you know that the Mavericks and the Clippers over the last 15 games are numbers 3 and 4 defensively in the whole NBA?
That's kind of nuts, actually.
That 4-5 series could either be amazing or awful. I don't think there's a middle ground. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the East, where we have the Hawks and the Bulls, which is set up to be as great as the play-in games, as great as all the matchups are on the West, is as absolutely awful as all the matchups. I mean, we'll get to the Cavaliers and how they basically gave up, but yeah, I mean, okay. So first we have Chicago playing Atlanta, right?
Yep.
So who do you have for that? Where are you going with that?
I'm going to turn it off to watch the.
Are you really?
The Bulls Hawks?
You won't turn on that game at all?
No. I'll take the Hawks, but no.
No, not at all. Wow. Okay. All right. I will watch it probably. I have to tell you because
look, I live with a wife. There are certain kind of concessions that I need to make.
So this is one of them?
This is a pretty easy one.
This is a pretty easy. So I'm actually okay. I can understand that. I can understand that. So okay, I will take the Hawks over the Bulls. I enjoyed watching the Bulls put forth their effort yesterday, but on Sunday, but I don't think they win this game. So the Hawks go into the winner of the 9-10. The more important part is who wins the 7-8 tomorrow. Oh, yeah, and then I'll get into something later. 7-8 tomorrow, 76ers and Heat in Philly. And this could pose so many good matchups if it runs the right way.
Or it could be your biggest. I mean, look,
it is my biggest nightmare. It's already my Knicks' biggest nightmare.
I don't think either. Like, you have a lot less faith in Miami than I do.
Yes, I do. A lot.
But I agree that Philly is the worst nightmare for everybody in the East. I will take Philly. Simply because I want to spite you.
The Philly matchup, my friend, is, oh my Lord. I mean, it's not only the Knicks' worst nightmare, it's the Celtics' worst nightmare.
Yeah. But you're not allowed nice things. So it's going to get there. So they're going to.
Thank you so much for that. I am not allowed nice things. This is certainly true. Yes, I am not allowed nice things. So, look, I think I will be a huge, huge Heat fan tomorrow. It will not happen. It will not. If the Heat win tomorrow, then the Sixers play the Hawks, and I think that's a nightmare for the Hawks as well as is everybody else. Look, I think the Heat and the Sixers come out of this. And what that means is that the Heat would play the Celtics. Also, not an easy matchup for them.
No.
A better matchup than seeing Joel Embiid. But either way, I think the Knicks beat the 76ers because for a couple of reasons. First of all, who knows what Joel Embiid is going to bring you night after night? We know what he'll bring you day one, right? I mean, he's healthy for today. He's the equivalent of Kawhi Leonard for the East. But I think the Celtics roll all over the Heat, which I'm not sure they roll all over the 76ers.
Yeah, look, I would have the Celtics. I think we pretty much have the same idea on the Celtics. I think the Celtics are cruising here. But look, we said that last year about the Bucks. And I do think the Celtics beat the Heat pretty easily. Beat the Heat, but the Heat are a tough playoff team. We've seen this before. We've seen this movie before, and they're not much worse than they were last year. You know, Butler, Adebayo are still there. Rozier is a nice complementary scorer that they really didn't have last year. Hero's playing. He didn't play in the playoff last year. Be careful what you wish for, buddy.
Well, I want that, but I guess I'm thinking of what the alternative is, Seth. I mean, if I don't get that, I'm getting Joel Embiid. So
yeah, no, I get that. But you've been dismissive of this team all season.
I have. This team has absolutely not done anything to warrant. We have not seen Jimmy Butler playoff time, right? We have not seen this team be cohesive at any point in the entire year. They are very similar to what you would say the Phoenix Suns are. We have not seen the best of this team. And I'm not sure. Yes, I have been dismissing them all year. Yes, because nothing they have done has shown me that they are an NBA championship quality team or even able to make a run right now. So can they do it? Sure. I mean, this team has the pieces, right? I mean, they have, if playoff Jimmy Butler comes back, great. Terry Rozier is a 20-point-a-game scorer. You have Bam Adebayo, who's probably the second or third best defensive player in the entire league. They have pieces. Duncan Robinson, if he comes back healthy, can shoot the lights out. Each one of these pieces, yes, is the whole greater than the sum of the parts. That's what they have yet to show me. This team has yet to show me. The Sixers have not.
They've consistently done that over the years, and I find it hard to dismiss them that quick.
That's fair. I would like what they don't have and what they have had in the past is they do not have a floor general this year at all.
No.
They traded Kyle Lowry, right? Their floor general is Tyler Hero, who is more of a two-guard. You know Jimmy Butler is going to be the point forward. I get it. He's the guy with the ball. But they got to get there. So I'm gonna take the Knicks over the 76ers and the Celtics over the Heat and pray to God that this happens because and Seth, is it a disappointing season? Is the season a disappointment if you lose to the 76ers with Embiid?
Or for who?
For the Knicks.
Hello.
Hey, Jake.
Hey, guys.
Is the season a disappointment for the Knicks? Is the season a disappointment for the Knicks if they lose to the Heat in the first round, lose to the 76ers with Joel Embiid in the first round?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because this is the face that I married.
Hi, Carl. Ladies and gentlemen, the brains behind the brawn.
And it's Strand.
Actually, she's the brawn behind. I thought I was the brains behind the brawn.
You are not the brains behind the brawn, my friend.
Oh, she's the one that just came back from working out.
By the way, I was talking about Jake. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so moving on. Bucks, be careful what you wish for. I am the latest report is that Giannis is not playing in the first round. And I will tell you, if Giannis does not play in the first round,
Indiana's winning this series.
I am picking the Pacers over the Bucks.
Me too.
Because
that's the most fun. That is the most fun series to me in the East.
The Pacers can't play a lick of defense, but they don't have to. So
fun.
They're gonna score 140 points, and the Bucks won't be able to stop them. And look, they beat the Bucks 3 times. This series has everything in it. It has Malik Beasley from the tournament, right? The in-season tournament. It's where's the ball? It's got Halliburton telling them to go shove it. It's got 150 points going back and forth. And now we add Pascal Siakam to that mix. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
How long is it?
How long is what, Jakey? What commercial? This isn't a commercial, dude. This is
not a commercial break, my friend. This is the regularly scheduled program.
Showing until 6 o'clock.
Regularly scheduled program. Jake,
Do you know
have
how
a good
long
time
Daddy's
in
done
Washington, D.C., buddy.
I love you too. Do you know how
Have a
long
good
Daddy's
time
done
in
this show
Washington,
on the
D.C.,
phone?
buddy.
Since before he knew mommy.
Maybe you guys can see a Capitals game if they make the playoffs.
I'm sure mommy would be ecstatic to go
I'm
to
sure
a hospital.
Daddy would be ecstatic at the cost. 4 tickets.
That Daddy's already ecstatic about a lot of costs going on.
Okay, so in the one series, look, you said a couple of minutes ago, be careful what you wish for. Okay, Cleveland Cavaliers. Did you see the lineup that they threw out on Sunday?
I did not.
Okay, so the Cleveland Cavaliers, hold on. The final lineup, so they were up 10 going into the fourth quarter. Okay? And then they realized that they could drop to the 4 seed and play the Magic. And because of that, they threw out this lineup in the fourth quarter versus Charlotte, mind you. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get these. Here we go. So they threw out Doug Jones, Tristan Thompson, George Niang, Amani Bates, and Patrick Nance.
Tristan Thompson is still in the NBA?
Seth, there's not one player under 6'9" on that team. On that
Who
roster.
brought up the ball?
Amani Bates. This reminds me of what I used to do in Lakers versus Celtics when I would play Eldon Campbell, Vlade Divac, AC Green, Jack Haley, and Sam Perkins, just to see how many tall guys I could get on the court at one time. Surprise, surprise. They lost an 11-point lead and lost the game by 10. Can't imagine why
Why would you want to do that, knowing it sets you up for a second round matchup with the Celtics?
Because if you are the Cavs, you have to win the first round matchup. Also, it's not a success for them. Now, it also told everybody in the entire league, we don't believe we could beat anybody else, right? We can only beat Orlando because we did that. So, to me, be careful what you wish for applies here. I'm picking the Magic over the Cavs.
I will take the Cavs over the Magic simply because I have not seen one iota of Magic this year, and I don't have a clue how they're the 5. I don't.
They're the 5.
I know they are very, very tall and lean defensively. That's all I know.
So to be fair, this is the best equivalent of the Magic to me. They are the Miami Heat of the 1990s.
Ugh.
Just
to watch is ugh.
They just beat the crap out of you all the time. So they take the fourth least. They commit the fourth fewest fouls in the league. But they beat the crap out of you on the offense, not on the defense. So, they consistently are beating you. They have their defensive lineup of Suggs and Franz Wagner and Poncaro and Jonathan Isaac, who is supposed
good for him. Good for him being healthy.
He's playing 25 minutes a game, which is 20, according to all sources, and I have not watched Magic ball as much as I have watched other ball. If he played 30 minutes a game, he would be Defensive Player of the Year. That's how good he's playing.
That is what I've heard as well.
That's as good as he's been playing. So I will pick the Magic to beat the Cavs and then set up. Look, not a series that I think the Celtics will lose, but when you're a younger team like the Magic, you have to play those series, right, to get better. We've seen this throughout history where you go, even the Bulls, right? The Bulls would go against the Pistons and get trounced, right? And then 3 years later, they'd get better than them.
Right.
The Magic need a lead guard. They really need a lead guard. But that's it. They don't need much else. And so is there a Donovan Mitchell in Orlando? That's a perfect fit for that team.
It actually is. That gives you a nice complementary scoring play. I just don't think that's what Mitchell wants, though.
No, I get it, but I'm saying that's the guy, right? That's what they need. And if they can get a Donovan Mitchell in 2 or 3 years, this could be a championship team. They're building that. So they need those games where they get, quite frankly, beaten the crap out of and trounced. And this is the first of those against the Celtics. I don't think the Celtics have anything to fear with the Magic, but I think they see, you know how the story is that Michael Jordan was on the bus at the Dream Team Olympics, right? And said, this is now my league, to Magic and to Bird. Well, I'm not saying the Magic are saying that to the Celtics now, but you need to go through those pains, and I think this is one of those pains. Okay.
No, look, if the Magic make the second round of the playoffs, that's a phenomenal year for them.
Agreed. And it's a horrible year for the Cavs.
Yes.
And they will break that team up. They will break it up. Okay, so I have the Knicks versus the Sixers, and I'm going to pick the Knicks because I need nice things. And that's it.
I'm going to pick the Sixers.
Of course you are.
Because I don't.
Of course you do. So now you have a
Actually, in all sincerity, I actually do think the Knicks will win the series. Although I actually like their depth better, but I'll take the Sixers just to spite you.
Well, it's hard not to look. The Knicks' depth is the best depth in the NBA.
Yeah.
The problem is that's all it is. And if you get into a series with the Celtics, that's going to be a problem because you have 3 guys that are going to harass Jalen Brunson, and that'll be the end of it. So, although Josh Hart has been phenomenal. Anyway, so now you have the Pacers versus the Knicks, which would be a really, really fun series.
It's a fun series.
A fun series. It's a series I wanted to see in the first round, which I'm going to see in the second, but I'll take the Knicks to beat the Pacers. I don't think the Pacers have enough defense. Well, I know the Pacers don't have enough defense.
I will take the Sixers over the Pacers.
Okay. And then I got the Celtics over the Magic. So now I have the Celtics over the Knicks, which pains me to say it, but yes, the Celtics are going to beat the Knicks.
And I'll take the Celtics over the Sixers.
And now I got the Mavericks and the Celtics, which, again, could be a really, really fun series. And I can't pick the Mavs. I'm going to pick the Celtics over the Mavs, and I don't like it, but that's the way I'll go. Celtics.
I will take the Nuggets over the Celtics.
Okay, which was what I predicted at the very beginning of this entire season.
What a massive stretch that was.
I didn't say it was
defending champions against the overwhelming number one.
Wait, but me picking the Mavs to make the finals is a pretty big stretch here.
Oh, that's right. I apologize. You did take if you took the Mavericks, then yes, well done. Then that is a nice stretch for you.
Yeah,
my fault.
Yeah, I got some stretchy going on here. I got some real stretch. Okay, so all right, so we have our finals picks. How many of these first round games? Let's say there's 1, 2. How many of the playing games are you going to watch? You're going to watch both tonight?
I will watch part. I will watch. Because I'm packing and I'm packing. I'll watch probably the late game. I'll be following the early game.
Okay, and what about tomorrow? I'm thinking you're not seeing any of tomorrow.
Which one is the early game? The Bulls?
Now you're asking me questions I don't know the right answers to. I'm hoping the early game is not the Chicago game, but I got a feeling it is. Because nobody wants to watch that game. So hold on a second. I will get the schedule. Okay. Tomorrow, Wednesday. Oh, the Miami game's the early game. Woohoo! We don't have to stay up too late.
Okay, I would have preferred it be the opposite. But I don't know because I'll be coming down. I'm going down to DC. So I don't know what my deal is going to be. But I plan. Look, I don't feel as burned out as I usually have at this time of year. So I have a feeling I'll be coming down and watching a lot of the late games down in my basement, and just I look forward to what I can watch, and hopefully the games will be solid. The West looks amazing. The East really, except for that Pacers series, it's kind of hard.
Well, look, at least we know that the first 2 games are going to be in the East, and the second 2 games are going to be in the West, right? I mean, for the first round. That's the way it's generally going to work. So we know that you're going to see the Knicks. The Knicks series will probably start at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, right? You're going to have a whole day of NBA. And you got 4 games on Saturday. You got 4 games on Sunday. I mean, it's a lot of basketball to go on. And you got the NHL playoffs are coming up too. So, I mean, there's a lot of good sports coming on. I won't bore anybody with baseball right now except for one thing. Seth, where do you stand on retiring numbers? Overall, I'm not saying just in baseball. Where do you stand?
Kind of indifferent about it, to be perfectly honest. I get it as a nice tribute, but I don't really care one way or the other. There's other ways to.
Do you think that there needs to be so we talked about earlier Hall of Fame, right? And we said, all right, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I get that. I do. And I have a hard time with specifically this is about Dwight Gooden, right? And specifically this is about Dallas Strawberry, the 2 guys that the Mets are retiring this year. I don't feel like either one of them deserves to be retired for the Mets.
No, I didn't even know they were retiring their numbers.
I quite frankly, I have a really hard time with it. Is the fact that, Dwight Gooden, he had 7 years in New York, give or take. Strawberry had 7 years.
3 great ones.
He had 3 great ones, maybe 2 adequate ones, and 2 that he snorted away. And Dallas Strawberry, kind of the same way, right? I mean, I think he had 6 really good ones. And I get that they are the boys of the 80s for the Mets. I get that. And look, nobody was a bigger Mets fan than me. I get it. Nobody rooted for Dwight Gooden when he was going 24 and 25-3 with a 1.76 ERA. Nobody. But that's one season. That's like retiring Roger Maris's number. I don't get it. I have a really hard time when it comes to these types of players. I would actually endorse the retirement of Ed Kranepool or somebody like Johnny Pesky that played 15 to 8, or Tim Wakefield that played 14, 17 years with the team. Maybe not the greatest player in the world. Maybe not.
That's my feeling as well.
Somebody
Longevity matters on the retirement of a number to a team.
Right. It's somebody that's synonymous to the team, right? Not necessarily you're not a Hall of Famer. You're a Hall of Famer with that team. And I get it. I guess I'm
like Harold Baines with the White Sox.
Yeah. Truth be told, Harold Baines with the White Sox, I think Harold Baines played like 15 years with that team.
Well, that's what I was joking, but that makes sense to me. No,
actually, he didn't. He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, even 9 years with the team. Yeah, I can get behind that. By the way, just because everybody knows my thoughts on Harold Baines. Harold Baines finished in the top 20 of the MVP 4 years. 20, 10, 13, and 9, and is a Hall of Famer. Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
Breathe.
So, breathe. So next week, we'll go through our NHL playoffs very quickly because we have an NFL. We'll probably do a 90-minute show next week because we have an NFL draft preview. Our favorite show of the year where we get everything wrong except for the top 3 picks. And
which at this point we're not even sure we'll get right.
We know them first. I think we got the first one down. All right, Seth, what do you think the odds are that the Giants trade that pick?
I don't think they're not stupid enough to trade up.
No, trade down.
I don't think they're going to.
Okay.
I think they want a wide receiver. So
if they want a wide receiver, that's where they are.
Yeah. I mean, to me, unless you're going to trade down to 8 or something like that, which there's no value in unless McCarthy's there, and I don't know who picks 8. But something like you're not going to trade to 12 to Denver.
8 is the Falcons, my friend.
Falcons are not taking a quarterback.
Agreed. Neither is 9 because 9 is the Bears.
Right.
And 10 is the Jets. So none of those guys.
Exactly. So to me, it's pretty simple. You're not trading down to 12. If you
want a wide receiver, you can't go down to the Jets. That's basically where it is.
You stay where you are. You get your choice of Neighbors or a Kinsey.
Yep.
And I don't care which one they go for, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
You're not going offensive line because you've just taken way too many offensive linemen in the first round. You're taking offensive line, I think.
I was going to say, would you please take an offensive lineman so I can get one of those wideouts, please, for the love of God?
You just signed Mike Williams to a $15 million deal with a Taylor ham sandwich. Shouldn't you be good? I know. But if he's good, you resign. He's not old. I don't think they trade down unless they really want a corner more than they want a wideout. And then you go 12 and 22. Yeah. Whatever it is. The Minnesota deal, 11 and 22. You get a corner, and then you get a second-tier wide receiver like a Keon Coleman or a Xavier Adonis, Xavier Legette. If that's what you want to do, okay. But don't trade down for the sake of trading down to be clever. I do not want a quarterback in this draft. I don't. If Jones is a scrub next year, there's about 10 free agent quarterbacks, and there will be quarterbacks out there this year. Because other than Caleb Williams and Drake May, nobody mentioned anyone going into this season. Do not do this.
Well, you know what? Seth will predict Joe Schoen's move next week. I will predict Joe Douglas's move next week.
And I'm going to be wrong, and Sean is going to call me during the draft and laugh at me. Because I don't deserve good things either.
Because guess what? Last year, all Seth could do was laugh at me. So, Broderick Jones, I miss you terribly. Okay, for Seth Kamens, this is Sean Palmer, Seth and Sean. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday. See ya.
Have a good one, guys.